person on your mind has a lot of gratitude for you, and with this energy of you are the answer to my whole life, it feels like the more that you get to know one another, the more that this connection deepens, unfolds, and progresses. It's starting to make sense why nothing ever worked out with other people. You fit this person's kind of like wildest fantasies, and at the same point in time, you bring so many qualities to the table that they didn't even know a person could embody all at once, or that were like things that they were looking for. This is almost somebody that feels like there are aspects about you or aspects about this connection that are like a totally unexpected surprise in the best possible way. This is somebody who is expanding their concept of love and closeness through the experiences with you. And this is helping them to feel very grateful in certain cases about previous situations that they might have spent a lot of time ruminating about. It could have taken a lot to release or just accept, situations that didn't work out in the past. This is somebody who might have even struggled to forgive themselves for their role in their own suffering, or suffering that they created in the lives of others that they were romantically connected with. But this is almost like a clean slate, like a fresh start with you in this situation, and not just like, okay, they've settled some kind of karmic debt and now the doors of love open again. But this is somebody who is recognizing, that they were always kind of aligning in a certain sort of way with a version of themselves that would be ready to connect with you. That this connection is the blessing and love that couldn't, on the best of times or in the best days, have been achieved with previous people. Yeah, they might have been happy in other connections, or, really unhappy in certain circumstances, but this is somebody that is learning to kind of just let all of that go and be very grateful in this moment here and now, because you bring out the best in them, and you are also showing them a different sort of face of love that they never knew existed before. So this is somebody, it feels like, that thanks their lucky stars that you have come into their life at this time. We also have I want you by my side. So this is definitely somebody that is thinking long-term potential with you, date to marry, or, if you're in the talking stage with one another and it's a little soon to be thinking about wedding bells, this can definitely be somebody that's like, yeah, I want to, move beyond just this kind of like casual encounter with one another, with this experience of, however much kind of distance or, just sort of the newness of the connection exists. This is somebody that wants to deepen that process with you. They want to create more closeness, more opportunities, to be in your presence or expand beyond sort of the territory or, the forum through which you interact with one another. Like if you mostly, connect in the virtual realm, this is somebody that wants to very seriously plan about like face-to-face interactions, creating more of those experiences and like, the flesh to flesh sort of sense. If this is somebody that you see in your ordinary reality, or you're able to go out on dates with this person, hang out with this person, they're definitely thinking about like, what would it be like to live together? What would it be like to have some kind of a more defined connection or like serious commitment to one another? What would that be like in certain cases? To propose to you, to marry you, to spend the rest of their life with you. We also have, I feel you so strongly, I can taste your essence. Yeah, so this person is hooked on you. They're hooked on your vibe. Everything about you, everything that they know so far, everything that is still a mystery is very intriguing to them. It feels like for some of you, you're kind of like, you may be very slow to open up. And this is something that is almost without meaning to, it's kind of encouraging this person to sort of like lean into patience or to pursue you in a more sort of open or direct way than they would be accustomed to. It's almost like these layers of mystery about you are a little hard to kind of read or decipher or gain access to. And every time you show them a little something else, this person really treasures those experiences. So whatever your strategy or approach with them has been so far, whether that's just being yourself or you're kind of like, yeah, I tried being myself in the past and that got me walked all over. So, I'm going to kind of try to employ some sort of strategy in this situation. not going to give into the impulse to get too excited about things or, read too much into things, not going to overshare, not going to overgive too soon. Like if you're holding something back from this person, or really making them work for it, earn that access to you, then this is something that is definitely working in all the right ways to entice this person, to keep them interested, to keep them hooked. We also have, there's a strange and deep connection between us. So this person is definitely starting to notice like signs and synchronicities, that kind of provide them with certain reassurances that there is something more than meets the eye in the situation. It feels like this person, like if you're resonating with this reading and these energies, that idea of signs and synchronicities might be something very unfamiliar to this person, although deja vu is coming up. Like they feel like they've experienced that before. Maybe you've experienced that with one another and you've even talked about that at different points in time, but like that is their comfort zone. That's like the most that they would be familiar with in terms of sort of the wider scope of indicators beyond just sort of like finding someone attractive or interesting or appealing or pleasing. Like they're not thinking about sort of like, okay, the forces that be, or the unseen forces, kind of the subtle currents between people. But they are starting to kind of notice those things now, like, hey, there's these kind of reoccurring things that come through, or maybe even things that come through via dreams. There could be a lot of intense interaction in between your kind of like higher selves or your unconscious selves, when you're both asleep. And that is something that this person is really taking notice of at this point in time, is something very different. Like they could, dream of people in their life or past people, but it feels like the experiences between the two of you, it feels so real that when they wake up, they kind of like turn over in their bed and they expect to see you there, only you're not. This is somebody that's starting to become aware of that concept of like the energetic kind of, experience that's happening or developing between the two of you. They're starting to maybe even slightly awaken to some of their own spiritual gifts. This connection between the two of you is powerful enough to have awakened not just feelings within them, but these kind of like extra senses within them. Maybe you are someone who is a very, kind of like spiritually aware person. So anything that you've kind of mentioned, even just casually about like signs, synchronicity, serendipity, things like that, buzzwords like that, it feels like this has taken root within this person's subconscious and is now kind of having an effect in some sort of way in terms of what they are starting to experience, both in their waking state and also in their sleeping, state. And so this is something it feels like that is helping this person to kind of develop and evolve as an individual, because it feels like forward progression in this connection between the two of you. It's not meant to just be something which is like emotionally pleasing or physically pleasing, but it feels like there's, a lot of high probability here between the two of you to experience like a deep soul-filled connection with another person. So this could definitely be a soulmate, higher level soulmate, but it feels like this is definitely somebody, if this is that higher level soulmate, they are going through that awakening process right now. But this energy feels to be something that is very like yielding, very accepting of that. So this doesn't feel like anyone that's going to get like triggered and run, from any of that. It's like they're just kind of starting to sort of see things a little bit differently. They're starting to sort of perceive something more than just kind of like lust or attraction or love or affection. There's like these other kind of components in the world around them and in their internal reality that are pointing to you and to this connection as something significant, something meaningful. And it feels like even that kind of contributes to part of when this person thinks back on previous heartbreaks, previous experiences, previous things that didn't work out. There's almost a sense of like, yeah, that might have been something that they wished for or hoped that, had worked out, or they tried to fix, tried to repair. But what's happening between the two of you and what they anticipate or can foresee will happen in the future, it's almost like it's richer than anything they could have had with anyone else. It's a lot more delicious. It's a lot more, high potential for something really kind of amazing, something really in depth, something that it feels like every day they're starting to kind of uncover or, feel within themselves, or things are being revealed that help this person to see these layers, that they're starting to recognize not only are you kind of the right person, that fits in very nicely, very comfortably within kind of their needs, wants, and desires, but you've kind of tuned them in and turned them on to like different things they didn't even know they were looking for, asking for, that would be fulfilling or even like possible with another person. And then there's this added component of like a softer, almost like a spiritual side to them. Their energetic body really awakening in your presence. You're magnetizing or coaxing that part of them out of kind of a place of hibernation. And so this is somebody that feels like that is going through like a soft awakening at this point in time. Your love is kind of coaxing them to more sort of awareness of themselves, of the relationship between the two of you as it's developing. And then that can definitely translate into kind of like how they move through the world, how they live their life. So it feels like this is a connection where this person is anticipating like really good things can happen between the two of you. This is somebody that is very open-minded, very open-hearted to kind of experience more, to receive more from you. They're very curious about what happens next in the situation, and it feels that curiosity is something which may be bringing you both to a point where this person is kind of like, I want to say something or do something in order to kind of seal the deal between the two of us, make my intentions more known, or kind of like let you know more about sort of what's developing internally within me and where I see you in my future, and kind of where I envision this connection, the concept of us developing into further down the road. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you'd like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.